$347. That's what I spent at the grocery store last week for what felt like half a cart. No steaks, no fancy cheese, nothing I'd call a splurge. Chicken, bread, some fruit, yogurt the wife likes, stuff for lunches. The ordinary things that ordinary families eat. I stood at the register and watched that number climb past 300 and felt something I wasn't entirely prepared for. Not panic exactly, but that low, slow burn that says I worked too hard for this. And if you've felt that lately, if you've stood in a checkout line and done the math in your head and come up short, I need you to hear this right now. That feeling isn't about groceries. Not even close. I'm Ben Matthews, and this is Debt Sucks. Segment 1. You're not angry about groceries. Let me tell you what's actually happening. You're somewhere between 35 and 55. You have a real job. You make decent money, maybe good money. You've worked hard for everything you have. You figured that by now money wouldn't feel like this. You thought the tight feeling was temporary, young and broke stuff, just starting out stuff. Except you're not starting out anymore. You're established. You're experienced. You're the person other people come to when something needs to get handled. And the tight feeling never left. It just got quieter, more familiar, more normal. It moved in and unpacked its bags, and you stopped noticing because it's just been there so long. And then the groceries cost $350 for a regular week, and suddenly that tight feeling has a face. That's why the checkout line makes you angry. It's not $350 worth of anger. It's years of I cannot get ahead no matter what I do. And the register is just the thing standing still long enough for you to stare at it. You're not overreacting. You're exhausted. And there's a difference. Segment 2. The invisible system working against you. Here's a story I've watched play out in my professional life more times than I can count. Someone comes in, good job, owns a home, kids in school, spouse who thinks everything is basically under control. They sit across from me, and within a few minutes I can see two things simultaneously. 1, they're genuinely a responsible, hardworking person. 2, they have absolutely no idea where their money goes. Not because they're careless, because the system is specifically designed to be invisible. Think about it. When's the last time you actually sat down and added up every single monthly obligation? Not guessed, not estimated, actually added it up with real numbers. If you're like most people, the answer is either never or I started once and then the kids needed something and I never went back. Here's what I've watched happen over the last 20 years. You got raises, real ones, legitimate career progression. You earn more now than you ever imagined when you were starting out. And somehow you have almost nothing to show for it. Not because you're irresponsible, not because of some dramatic financial flaw, but because every time your income went up, life quietly and efficiently expanded to consume it entirely. Better vehicle, bigger house, nicer vacations, kids' activities, sports, music, travel teams, equipment that costs more than your first car. Restaurants 2 or 3 times a week because you're tired and it's somebody's birthday and it's Tuesday and Tuesday is hard. And the subscriptions. Netflix, the gym you went to in February, the app that charges $12.99 a month for something you cannot even remember. The meal kit service you paused but didn't cancel. None of those decisions were stupid individually. A reasonable person made a reasonable choice each time. But stacked together, layered on top of each other month after month, year after year, your entire paycheck is spoken for before it hits your account. So when groceries cost $150 more per month than they did 3 years ago, where exactly is that supposed to come from? I mean, there is nowhere for it to go. That's not a grocery store problem. That's not an inflation problem, though inflation isn't helping. That's a margin problem. And margin problems are fixable. Segment 3. The checkout line is a lie detector. Last time you were at the register, did you feel something shift in your gut as the total climbed? Did you run a quick mental calculation of what you had in checking? Did you think for just a second about putting something back? That moment right there, that's not weakness. That's your nervous system doing math your conscious brain doesn't want to deal with. Because when every dollar is already claimed before it arrives, the car payment, the mortgage, the credit cards that never quite get to zero, the insurance that went up again for reasons no one can fully explain, a $50 jump in your weekly grocery bill doesn't register as an inconvenience. It registers as a threat. And here's what keeps me up at night as someone who's watched this pattern for 2 decades. The most dangerous thing you can do right now is decide that feeling is normal. Tell yourself this is just how it is. Tell yourself everybody feels this way. Tell yourself you'll deal with it after the next raise, after the kids are older, after the holidays, after the thing that's always just around the corner. I know exactly how that movie ends. The raise comes, there's a brief exhale. 6 months later, the feeling is completely identical, just with a slightly larger obligation in the driveway and a slightly higher credit card minimum. The grocery store didn't create the pressure, it just had the nerve to make it visible. Segment 4, meet Karen. Karen is you. Let me tell you about someone I'll call Karen. Details changed, you know the drill. Karen was 41, pharmaceutical sales rep, makes about 88 grand a year plus commission, which put her solidly above average in her county. Owned her home, 2 kids in middle school. She was, by every external measure, doing just fine. She came to see me because one credit card had quietly hit its limit and she didn't know how. When we sat down and mapped it out, and I'll tell you exactly how to do this in a minute, it took less than an hour to find out where it all went. Car payment, $610. Home equity loan she'd taken for renovations 2 years ago, $430. Mortgage, $1,720. Insurance across everything, $490. Eating out, she guessed $250 a month. Actual number from her bank statement, $680. Not because she was dining at fancy restaurants, because of lunches, coffee runs, drive-thrus on busy nights, and a standing pizza order every Friday that somehow felt like a modest treat. Groceries alone had jumped $200 a month over 2 years, and she'd never adjusted anything else to account for it. It had just quietly gone on the card. Karen was not reckless. Karen worked hard and loved her kids and made reasonable decisions, but Karen had never actually looked at all of it at once. When she did, she said something I've heard 100 times in 100 different ways. Where did it all go? It didn't go anywhere dramatic. It went everywhere ordinary, a little bit at a time, automatically, invisibly, while Karen was busy working and raising kids and living her life. And here's the part that matters. Karen is not a cautionary tale. She turned it around. 18 months of focused, unsexy, unglamorous work. She's got $9,000 in savings now. She goes to the grocery store and doesn't do the anxious mental math at the register anymore. But it started with one honest Saturday morning where she looked at the real numbers. Segment 5, the shit happens fund. You know why a grocery spike feels like a crisis? Not because $200 a month is unmanageable for someone who earns what you earn, because there's no buffer, no margin, no small pile of money sitting somewhere that exists for exactly this kind of moment. When every dollar is spoken for, every unexpected expense is an emergency. The car repair, the vet bill, and God bless your dog, but that animal's expensive. The thing the kids need for school by tomorrow. The thing the house decided to do at the worst possible time. This is why before we talk about paying off debt, before we talk about investing, before we talk about any of the exciting long-term stuff, I want you to build what I call the shit happens fund. Not a 6-month emergency fund. I mean, that's a great goal, and we'll get there. I'm talking about $1,000, sitting still, untouched, boring, waiting, because $1,000 in a separate account you do not touch transforms the emotional experience of ordinary life. The tire blows, and it's annoying, not catastrophic. The dog does the thing and it costs $400 and you can handle it without reaching for the card. Groceries go up and you feel it, but it doesn't unravel your month. That's not wealth. That's not financial freedom. That's breathing room. And breathing room is where everything else starts. Segment 6, coffee, kitchen table, real numbers. I'm not going to give you a 12-step financial transformation plan. You don't need 12 steps. You need one Saturday morning. Coffee, kitchen table, real numbers. That's it. Go to debtsucks.info and download 3 things. The Brutally Honest Money Breakdown, the Rock Pile, and the Shit Happens Fun Guide. Print them. Sit at your kitchen table, write down the real numbers. Not what you think it is, not what you're comfortable with, the actual numbers from your actual bank statement and your actual balances. Don't judge it yet, don't fix it yet. Just see it. Because here's what I've watched happen across 20 years and thousands of conversations. Nothing changes until you can see it clearly. The people who turned it around didn't do it with motivation or someone yelling at them from a podcast. They did it with one honest morning where they finally looked at the real picture and said, okay, here's what's true. Now what? See, that's where the path starts, not at the register, at the kitchen table. Before I close, I got a message this week that stuck with me. A listener said they were about to pull the trigger on a new car, new payment, new insurance, the whole thing. Said they heard the episode about what a vehicle actually costs, the real number, not the sticker number. And they stopped, just stopped, went home and did the math instead. And part of that math was time. How many hours of their life at their actual pay that payment represents every month for the next 6 years. That's not a small number. That's a real claim on real days that don't come back. They didn't buy the car. And they said they slept better that week than they had in months. I mean, that's the whole show right there.
Hey, let's get real for a sec. The Debt Sucks plan, it's awesome. It works. But not everyone has the time or the patience to chip away at their financial Mount Everest. Maybe you're drowning right now, like creditors calling your grandma, paycheck gone before it lands, sleepless nights count of drowning. Sound familiar? Listen, you don't have to white-knuckle your way through this alone. Instead of spending years battling debt $1 at a time, I've got you. Bankruptcy isn't a failure, it's a fresh start. And sometimes hitting reset is the smartest thing you can do. At my law firm here in South Carolina, we take the time to listen to your story and help you figure out if bankruptcy is the right choice for you. No pressure, no judgment, just straight answers and real solutions. And if you don't live in South Carolina, don't worry. I can connect you with a trusted attorney in your state. Wherever you are, help is closer than you think. So if you're ready to stop the stress and start fresh, visit debtsucks.info to share a little about your situation or call my office for a free consultation. Let's find your path forward together, because sometimes you don't need a plan, you need a damn lifeline. Let me be that lifeline.
So the next time you're standing in the checkout line, and it'll probably be this week, and you feel that thing in your chest as the total climbs, remember what you heard today. You're not upset about groceries. You're frustrated because you worked too hard to feel this financially fragile. Because you've done everything right and it still feels like the floor could drop out. Because nobody ever sat down with you and showed you how this whole thing actually works. And you're right to feel that way. But frustration without a plan just makes you tired. So here's step one of the plan. Go to debtsucks.info. Download the breakdown. Do the honest hour. See the real numbers. One honest step, one Saturday morning, one bit of clarity that leads to one bit of control. Because the goal isn't to stop noticing that prices are high. The goal is to stop letting every fluctuation make your life feel fragile. See, that's true wealth. That's what we're building. Debt sucks, but you don't have to.